Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Everybody who watches the show on a regular basis knows my love of the stretch four.
You know, we all make mistakes. He might have made one going to Tallahassee.
If y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, cross over to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. This Shally-oo, hoodie girl dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we fall for. Beat the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets out the buckets, baby. You're out of time. It's buckets. What it is, homie, it's buckets. Woo! We get buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
What up, everyone? Welcome to a kind of last-second buckets. You've got me and Vish. Matt's on vacation.
He's in Brazil.
Hi, Matt. What's up, Vish?
What is up?
Long time no see.
I know, it's been a while.
Like a few hours.
Yeah, long 5 hours.
A lot has happened since our last buckets.
Yeah, which we were trying to figure out when it was. We did kind of narrow in on the date, but that was before a lot of the player movement. So yeah, we got a lot to get to with both teams.
Yep, some transfers to talk about, some departures from the men's team, everybody.
Yeah, I mean that's the summary. No one's left.
So
Yeah, I guess you know what? Even Nigel hadn't officially re-entered the portal. Obviously, we knew he was never coming back here, but so yeah, we have a lot to talk about.
he's got a chance to do something really funny too, because of the schools that he's down to.
Yeah, well, also, you know, he also has the opportunity to collect Social Security while still playing college basketball if he keeps playing. So lots of stuff going on there.
Lots of stuff. Let's talk women's first, shall we? Ladies first.
We shall.
So I think since we've last potted, we talked about Leah Harmon entering the portal.
Yeah, at that point Leah had entered, and so had Aurora, and then we had, you know, Lamaya had not officially publicly said she'd entered, but she did do a thank you Miami post. She sits Command A&M, so obviously she did enter.
There was no enter the transfer portal post, but there was like a thank you Miami vid.
Yeah. So we kind of knew she was gone, which was obviously confirmed when she went to another school. So.
The only players remaining from last year's squad would be Nate Adams, who is basically like our sixth man, and then Simone Pellish, who was an incoming freshman last year that redshirted because of a finger injury, and then Daniela Abbeys, who transferred in from Wichita State, but got injured in the non-con. So I'm assuming she's getting, or at least trying to get a medical redshirt for last season. Not sure. If she doesn't, then she would be a senior in her last year of eligibility.
Yeah, I'm assuming she'll apply for it. That stuff you actually do during the next season, so you wouldn't have done it yet. Like they find out kind of midway through the next season. So
yeah,
next year.
So she played 11 games? 9?
Yeah, not a lot.
Yeah, so she definitely, I think she'll get it. So those will be the 3 remaining. So you've got 2 guards and 4/5. You've got the 5 incoming freshmen, and then we've added 3 portal transfers so far. I'm assuming we're gonna get more, but let's talk about each one. So the first one that committed to Miami was Maya Kone, who's actually originally from Pompano Beach, so Broward County. She played at Ely High School. Started off at JMU and then has been at FIU the last 2 seasons. However, last year I couldn't find an injury report, but I'm assuming that's what it was because she only played in the first game.
Yeah, no, she didn't really play. She played in one. No, it is
Yeah.
a season-ending injury that I didn't see what it was exactly.
Yeah, I couldn't find what it was. So we're assuming she's going to get a medical redshirt, which means she would have 2 years of eligibility left. But the year before, she was the Conference USA Player of the Year and the Sixth Man of the Year. So she's a baller. She's a forward. She's 6'2", definitely really athletic. Hold on, let me pull up her stats from the season before. In 2023, 2024, she played 33 games, averaged 24 minutes, 11.4 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, about a steal per game and block per game. Shot 29.5% from 3 and 78.8% from the 37.9% from the field, and almost 80% from the free throw line.
Which we like to see.
Which, hey,
Yeah, and she did start 21 of those 33 games that year, which, as you said, she was kind of in between
yeah.
starting and coming off the bench.
But in her one game in 2024, she had 21 points and 14 boards.
Yeah, I mean, small sample size on that one. But yeah, no, she's definitely it's good to get a local kid.
No, it's cool to get a local person, and also we lost our entire backcourt, or not front court. So we definitely need height. So she'll definitely be in that front court rotation. I just think she's really athletic. It's so hard to find clips. Women's
Yeah, I
clips.
mean, we've talked about this pretty extensively on the show. There's just not a lot of, unfortunately, just not a lot of women's basketball covered, and for the men on the men's side, when like the third string point guard from Duquesne enters the port, there's immediately like an edit up with like 10 minutes of him doing layups and warm ups, and some of these women they're stars on the team, like you said, Conference USA Player of the Year, and you can't find a highlight reel. So we were able to pull up some things like just full game highlights where she scored a bunch, so she's featured in there quite a bit, but nothing like dedicated, at least that I was.
Yeah, it looks like she can shoot. I mean, both her first season, she only played 11 games and was 30% from 3, and she was about the same when she played a full season. So I'm interested to see, like, maybe not like 3-point shooting, but how her mid-range game is, just to stretch the floor a little bit. We all know how I feel about the stretch four.
I was about to say, we know where this is
I
going.
hate that we don't have last season, because I feel like she really broke out her sophomore year, and then to get injured in that first game, we don't know like if she would have taken the next step. But definitely a lot of potential. Obviously, it's a step up coming from Conference USA to the ACC, but definitely has some potential.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be realistic here. We do have a very strong freshman class coming in. We have Ine, Simone, Daniela coming back. Like you said, that's not a team. That's like half of a team.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to take players to kind of fill not just to be the superstars on the team, but also to be really good role players, which I think is what we're probably looking for from her. As you said, it was a step up level.
I feel like she could be like a glue piece.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. I think that's kind of what we're looking at.
And theoretically, she has 2 years of eligibility left, which I like. We're going to be a lot younger this year. As Vish likes to term it, like say we had like a team full of mercenaries last year, all 1-year players. This year, assuming Kone and Abis get those medical red shirts, everyone has another year of eligibility after this coming season. So at least, which is nice. So hopefully they can start building the culture and the team. But I actually was a big fan of this get, not only because she's from Broward.
Yes, she is from. I mean, look, we won't hold the inferior county against her, but she's in Dade now, so she was smart enough to go south. And,
she's been living in Miami-Dade.
I know she's smart enough to stay in the proper part of the state here. So no, but exactly the type of player I think we needed. I'm going to tread lightly here, pretty surprised at how much we struggle fundamentally in terms of turnovers and getting looks last year, given the seniority of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the reasons for that is we took an approach, like you said, not just of getting 1-year players that are trying to integrate in one off season and then be the frontline players on team, but also because we took a lot of players that weren't used to being featured on their team. They weren't used to having the ball in their hands a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, all respect to Cam and Nat, they weren't the best players. Like Nat was not the best player on Notre Dame. Let's be real. Hannah Hidalgo was carrying the ball, and Olivia Miles, and so all of a sudden we're expecting her to lead the team forward. That's where you get a lot of these turnovers, where you have people kind of stretching beyond what they've been asked to do in the past and trying to figure that out in one off season and then do it in the ACC. That's a huge ask. So I like this move because it's someone that was the main player on their team. Is comfortable handling the ball, comfortable in those situations. And even though I don't know that she'll be asked to do as much here, she's comfortable doing that. I think that'll help a lot with the turnovers. And like you said, having multiple seasons, we're not just looking 1 year, we're looking multiple years down the road now.
Yeah.
So, I really do like this move. I agree.
And I know, I was just scrolling through her games from the 23-24 season. She had a lot of games where it was just like 10 to 15 points, 8 to 11 rebounds, like those types of games where she can get close to a double-double every night. But she did have a game against Jacksonville State where she scored 28, had 11 boards, shot 9 of 15 from the field, 6 of 9 from 3. I mean, 6 of 9 from, hold on, wait, is it 6 of 9 from 3? Yeah. And then 4 of 4 from the free throw line. That was her best game a year ago, which that's quite the stat line. She was feeling it that game. And no turnovers. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good, like I said, someone that's used to kind of having to deal with the ball, and I think that'll hopefully help with the turnovers because that was a huge problem last year. We were attempting 10 plus less shots to the opponents with our smaller guard lineup coupled with the high turnovers. So give up offensive boards, you give up non-shot possessions, and so I really do like I like that we're trying something that was not what we did last year, that we kind of understood that didn't work at all, and that we need to recalibrate. And this is definitely a recalibration.
And if she was named Conference Player of the Year for that conference, she obviously was used to having the ball in her.
Right, and I think if you look back to last year, right, we did. I think Cullop coming into her first year in the ACC, we targeted mostly. I mean, Daniela being an exception, players that were from power conferences. Darian, Nat, Cam, both the Cavenders were here, so these were all players. And I think her logic there, which I don't think was wrong necessarily, it ended up being a complete disaster, was I need players that are used to playing on this level and not acclimating to this level. Didn't work at all. So now she is, again, recalibrated that approach, and it seems to be, and we'll talk about the other two players as well because they fit this as well. Players that tended to be the best player on their team at a lower level, with multiple years of eligibility, so that they have time to acclimate over multiple seasons to playing in the ACC. But they are already comfortable kind of being the lead players on their team and to provide that leadership. Because as you said, the talent's there. It's just in our freshman class. So this is a great way to transition, have a little bit more veteran players that are used to leading their team forward. And then, behind them have this really talented freshman class to kind of fill gaps in and grow as well with them, I think is a really smart approach.
And you got to imagine she's itching to get back on the court after missing all of last season too. So
yeah. We'll
see. She might need a few games in the non-con kind of to brush off some of the dust. But yeah, I really like the addition, and she does have the ability to stretch the floor a bit. I don't know that I want her taking a bunch of threes per game because, like, looking at her stats, there's some games where she's made like 3 of 4 or 3 of 5, and then there's some games she's gone 0 for 5 from 3. So I'll be interested to see if she works on that. But it'd definitely be nice for her to have that in her arsenal, just to see how her dribble drive is. That pump fake from the elbow, she can take it to the hoop if she becomes a legit threat mid-range, which I think she has. Again, I'm going to have to find some FIU games to watch and just try to fast forward through her stuff because it's hard to find highlights and see. But I think she definitely has that opportunity to have that midi game and put that, maybe have someone else on the low block. Hopefully, we'll add another big. But her and Abis both very athletic, both bigs that can move. So that's an interesting concept if we're gonna press, if we need to have two bigs on the floor, because they can move. They're not like statues in the paint, kind of like how Cam was, where she was more of in the paint. And so I like it. That was a really good first edition for me because again, everybody left. So we had Abis, and I think we have a big coming in the freshman class. I'm like, we need front court people. So really good, really good first edition from the portal. Forgive me if I pronounce this name wrong. Our second edition is Vittoria. How would you pronounce the last name?
Blasic, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to look it up. Originally from Italy, played 2 years at University of South Florida. She's a guard. She's 5'9", so we're getting bigger in the backcourt. I love it.
By the way, I did just look it up. It's Blasig.
Is what?
Blasig.
Blossy?
Blasig. It's like a hard G.
Blasig?
Yeah, Blasig.
Okay. Vittoria Blasig. There's always one name. Last year was Abis.
I mean, you can't pronounce anything.
all these international players.
You're highly intelligent, can do a billion things. Pronunciation, not your strong
Languages
suit.
are not my thing.
Yeah. Well, that's not even true. Like you.
But we're going international this season.
Yeah. Well, also, like I'm about to say, that's not even true that languages aren't your strong suit because your Hebrew might be on showcase on the show very soon, but. Yeah. So I wouldn't even go that far. Just the pronunciation thing.
Victoria Blasik, 5'9" guard. She was a sophomore, so she's got 2 years of eligibility left. Played at USF the last 2 seasons. Last year, she averaged 10.4 points per game and shot 43.6 from the field. Only 1.8 assists per game. Again, it's hard to find stuff. I think she's a 2. I don't know if she's a point. It's hard to find things.
Yeah, I mean she's an interesting player because she was definitely like their top player and
she's played a lot her first 2 years.
No, led them to the NCAA tournament. They got blasted by Tennessee. She played 40 minutes in the conference championship game and scored 20 points, led them to victory.
Her freshman year, she averaged 30 minutes a game.
Yeah, I'm honestly wondering if the connection happened through P2 actually, because Blasig plays for the Italian national team and P2 does coaching in that neck of the woods. So I wonder if they've crossed paths before. For a
sophomore, she's got a ton of experience.
Yeah, I would say a couple of things. She's definitely she's a shooter. But more of I think she's kind of going to be more of a combo guard. So I'm curious to see where she'll fit in here.
She averaged less points per game her sophomore year, and I think that has a lot to do with her a little bit less minutes, but her percentages were a lot higher. Shooting her sophomore year, she went from 36% from the field to 43% from the field, and then up to her 3-point percentage from 33 to 37. So.
Yeah, no, I mean she was their, if not their best player, certainly one of them. So I think again, just keeping with the theme we saw before, a lot of players on the all the transfer targets are players that are were frontline players for teams, played a lot, were leaders on their teams. And she's definitely keeping with that theme. Again, shoots are for a high percentage. It'll be we'll talk a little bit after we kind of get through these, how they might all integrate together. I don't know exactly where her and Kone in the third one we're going to talk about, Raviv, how they all fit together. A lot of kind of overlap in how you might want to play them. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how Trisha figures that out, because we also have Anae, obviously, still here at guard, who you expect to start. So
you expect her to play point, though.
Yeah, but I mean, so both Raviv and Blasig could play point also as bigger points. So that's
they're more like combos, as Anae's more of like a straight point.
Well, she played small forward last year or something.
Everybody was 5'6".
So no, but I guess my point is, in theory, if we didn't have Anae, I could see. Well, we're going to talk about Raviv in a minute, but her and Blasig being the starting backcourt, and so it's an interesting to see how Trisha plans to piece this together. Yeah, this is another really good player. A lot of international experience, which helps.
We're going
A little bit
into
of a mixed bag playing major conference opponents. Like she struggled a lot against UConn, and Mississippi State, and South Carolina. Those were kind of her worst games. But then she also did play okay against Louisville and Vanderbilt, who we saw crush our team. So she had her in TCU as well. So it wasn't all bad. Kind of, they all just got crushed in the tournament. She didn't do much there, but definitely was a key player in USF making the tournament. Was key in all three of those games. Played the entire finals. So definitely can log the minutes.
But yeah, like another person has seen a lot of play, and she again only was a sophomore this past year. So
yep, 2 years to go for her as well. So yeah, no, again, there's a theme to these, and again, this is one of the things we like, right? We saw something last year, it didn't work at all. So she Trish was like, let's try a different approach, and she's leaning into it. And we'll see the results, but I like that there's as I've been watching a lot of our baseball team this year, I like that there's a coherence and strategy here that is aligned and like, okay, this fits into, you can see the building blocks fitting together and kind of what we're trying to do. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed to work. We'll find out next year. But I do like that there appears to be an intentionality and a strategic approach that is sometimes lacking in some of our athletic
and you see the pattern too, because she's getting players that have more eligibility left than just the last year, and then like you said, it's players coming from like these mid-major schools that have played a lot. So it's a whole different way than the 1 year mercenary thing from power schools, like you pointed out.
Yep. Speaking of
the third edition is my favorite.
Yeah, should I let you introduce her? No, I'm the one who's seen her play, but go for it.
So like I said, we're going international. Avis is from Spain. We got Blazik from Italy, and now we got an Israeli. I'm so excited. So me and Vish actually saw her play live because
were you at that game? I don't think you were at that game.
Was I?
I'm pretty sure you weren't.
No, I was watching.
Haley hit a shot like at the buzzer to force overtime, and then
so Vish saw her play live. For some reason, I thought I was there, but I think I was at work watching it. Anyway, I watched that game, or at least like parts, and then went back. So Gal Raviv was a freshman this year, played for Quinnipiac. Originally from Netanya, Israel. Let's go. I'm very excited. She's a hooper. As a freshman, she is elite for like the mid-major level. She has a lot of international experience as well. But she was the MAAC is the conference?
MAC, yeah. Mid-Atlantic Athletic Conference.
It's the other MAC.
Yeah.
She was the player of the year and the rookie of the year. So she won both of those things. She's a 5'9" guard. She's a lefty, which is very interesting. Averaged 17.9 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, and 4 assists per game while shooting 45% from the field. She's a hooper.
Yeah, and like I said, I saw her in person. We struggled to cover her. She put up 25 on us. That was the game that, well, I should have to be a lot more specific. That was the first time we had a huge lead and blew it.
Yeah.
And Quinnipiac came back and took the lead largely based on Raviv's play. And then, like I said, Haley hit a shot right at the end to force overtime, and then we were able to win in overtime. But yeah, it was a struggle. So yeah, no, she's a good. Again, it's another just kind of solid. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go as far as you didn't throw the term elite around, but definitely another like good player to have. That's got a lot of experience, but has eligibility left, used to having the ball in her hand.
She could become elite.
That's all you said the first time. Maybe you did. I wasn't listening carefully. This is all recorded, so I might be wrong. But yeah, no.
Listen, considering what she did as a freshman.
Yeah, but other than, you have to consider. I just don't want to put that on players.
No, I don't
not
want to
fair
put
to
it on
them.
her. I'm just a fan. I was really excited.
Yeah, because I mean, we're the only. I'm looking through their roster. We're the only major conference team they played. So,
She killed
you know,
us.
there's not a lot of comp there. Now, again, that's not taking anything away from, like you said, as when you're freshman of the year and player of the year, that's saying something right there. That's like, but again, the level of competition was much lower than kind of what we play.
But another person that's used to having the ball in their hand, she averaged.
Yeah,
30.
exactly. It fits exactly what we're trying to do. She's very skilled. Shooters can shoot. She can shoot. So, yeah, no, it's someone that's used to not just having the ball in her hand, but taking that responsibility. I mean, look at her minutes totals. To me, that's probably the most impressive thing. She did not come out of games.
36.
So, I mean, I guess now she played 44 minutes because it went to OT, but
Yeah.
I mean, this is someone that basically was playing entire, she averaged 36 minutes a game, which is insane because, that basically means other than blowouts, you're playing every minute. So, again, someone that's used to playing a lot of minutes, and that matters because that shows they can control themselves in terms of not getting into foul trouble, staying on the court. We definitely had issues with that last year where even, again, our seniors, would do, let's just say, not the smartest thing and pick up cheap fouls, and all of a sudden they're on the bench and it would cause problems. Like someone that's used to logging that kind of time on the court is used to navigating through that, not picking up the cheap, stupid fouls and kind of staying in the game. And so, again, it's very different than, again, we've gone complete strategy shift. We've gone to smaller schools and kind of taken the top players off of those teams, where last year we went to big time programs and took like the 6th and 7th and players off their teams, which we'll see how that works, but it's a very different strategy. And so, yeah, I mean, and it does kind of make sense to do this, especially given the freshman class we have coming in that is does have that talent to be top players on Power 4 teams. They just need to grow into it. So this is a good way to bridge that growth.
And this is someone, again, was only a freshman. So she's got a year of college under her belt, but she's still got 3 more years. You bring her in with this freshman class and they all grow together.
Yeah, and it's smart from a roster capacity standpoint because, again, we were like, ideally Leah Harmon is still here. So you lost someone from that class. And so, this is when you start constructing your roster and you want to, because it's going to take time, everyone needs to be patient, right? But as you start building your roster out and you want to get that spread of like seniors and juniors and sophomores and freshmen, we had a freshman that was highly rated that we were both big fans of, didn't get as many opportunities as she probably would have liked and left, no fault of her own. I kind of probably would have done the same thing, to be honest. But so now, from a roster construction standpoint, we're thinking, okay, we do have an open slot in that freshman class now, and this is a good way to fill it. And then you mentioned, Kone might or might not get an extra year. We think she should, but even if she doesn't, that's a senior. So again, trying to spread your class around so you don't end up what we had this year.
Where
again, not Trisha's fault. She came in and then had to just do what she could do, but
yeah,
everyone graduated or is a true freshman other than 2 of the players. And so it just makes it easier to, so as you try to, again, it takes time to actually build in that depth and have the classes roll through. So, and once you build that base, and that's much easier because you're like, all right, we had 2 juniors hit the portal. Let's see if we can go find 2 juniors, or maybe some of the sophomores raised up. Once you have that spread built, when you're doing it initially, it's hard. So that's why it's going to take some time, but she's getting there. I mean, let's be realistic, right? We have the top 10 recruiting class, 5 freshmen. Unless you're living under a rock as a coach, you got to be thinking also like, okay, how many of them are going to be here in 3 years? Right? Obviously, you want all of them to, but you never know. And with the portal and with that kind of talent, like everyone's going to be in their ear from day one. The second they don't start the first game, like, hey, come over here, you can play more, right? And so you have to guard against that. And these types of moves, like you said, only a freshman's got a ton of experience. Bringing someone like that is a good way to bridge and mitigate those gaps, and obviously someone that can play too. It's not just for those reasons, just an added bonus that you potentially have her for 3 years is kind of a mainstay of the roster. Huge bonus.
It's very I would say it's rare to get a player with 1 year of experience out of the portal who has that much experience.
Well, yeah, played that many minutes. Like it's an insane number of minutes.
So I mean, I mean, minus Kone injury last year, but even the year before that, she played a lot of minutes. The 3 transfers that are coming in are very experienced, and 2 of them only have one has 1 year of experience and one has 2 years of experience. So a lot of hooping under their belts.
Yeah, and even NA played quite a bit last year.
Yeah.
Daniela played
played a lot
played
last
quite a bit. Yeah, but she played quite a bit at Wichita State. So you do have,
Yeah.
you know, at least some players that have played, and that's important. Like, and that's why these are good moves, in my opinion. Again, we're gonna have to.
But we're a lot
if-
taller. We're a lot taller in the backcourt. 'Cause
Well, I
you
mean,
look
we'd
at-
have to by default.
Yeah, I know. Gotta go for 6. But Raviv and Blazik are both 5'9". Simone Pellis should be healthy this year. She's 6 feet. You bring Kone in for the front court, and then I know Camille Williams is like 5'11", I believe. I think Tipner is also in the upper 5s. You got some taller guards coming in. So teams are gonna be more. It's gonna be more difficult for teams to shoot over us like they were last year, which is good. We can be more physical too.
Well, I mean, we'll have to see how we. I'm not sure because last year was such a hodgepodge of like just mismatched players, and
You love using hodgepodge, don't you?
it's a good word, especially in this instance. I think we were just like, I still don't actually know what like a Trisha Cullip team wants to play like.
Yeah.
Because I know last year was again, I'm not. It is what it is, right? We last minute scramble for players. I don't think she came in there thinking, let me play 2 5-6 players as the backcourt, right? So I'm not sure what, like, if she has her ideal talent distribution and kind of from a size and positional standpoint, what we'd like to play like. I'm still not sure about that.
Well, maybe we need to get her back on the show.
Well, I don't know if she should publicly state, which, you know, let the other coaches figure that out. Why are we just going to make her state it? But yeah, we can definitely have her on the show. I don't know if I want her necessarily talking through this.
No, she doesn't have to give the game plan, but I would love to hear her. I'm sure everyone would love to hear her thoughts.
Yeah, no, we can do that. I'm sure she'll come back on.
Still think we should just get a whole coaching roundtable and just get all the coaches on at the same time. But
we'll have to go to that. We'll have to go to campus to do that. I think we'd have to do it from their facilities or something. That's
an even better idea.
I do have the ability to technically do it, so getting the feeling on.
We've now done pods from. You've done it from your living room with Matt. We've done it from the Stanford campus. We've done it from All Canes and the team store.
Mm-hmm. I've done one from the Watt.
Yeah, you have done one from the Watt.
The equipment travels.
But buckets gets around.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'm excited for all 3 of these players. I think all of them are great additions, and we're one of the best players on their respective teams coming from mid-major level conferences. So, well, it'll be interesting to see the step up. Both Blazik and Raviv have played internationally, so be interested to see if that helps them as far as being able to step up in competition and what they faced internationally. Not sure.
Yeah, I think it was, and hopefully this doesn't come off negatively because it's not meant to. I think they're good compromise players. And what I mean by that is we need to do 2 things, and they're kind of contradictory, which is we need to get experience out of the portal, but also we didn't want to do a bunch of 1-year players. And so that it's hard to actually do that. I think she was able to do that here. So that's why I say it's kind of a combination. She may have just kind of split the difference. I'm sure there were 1-year players that maybe are a little bit more highly touted that have done it in power conferences. We could have dropped bags on and done all that sort of stuff, right? And then I'm sure there are players that, you know, were top 50 recruit, kind of like Leah Harmon, right? That are like, these are top recruits that didn't play a lot, that are back in the portal now, that we also could have gone for. But I do think these were the ones that they're kind of checking multiple boxes. They played a lot and they're younger. We need that experience because, again, 5 freshmen and then Simone have not played. So and then Abis played 8 games last year. She played a lot of Wichita State, so she has experience. And they, you know, was her minutes oscillated up and down, and that's it in terms of players that have even stepped on the court. So these portal, it's important that they have experience, but then also you don't want to just take a bunch of one-year players again. So she's done a good job of splitting the difference there.
And I will say, Raviv made the right choice because it came down to Miami and Iowa, and I'm like, who wants to play in the cold? Israel's hot. She's used
Isaiah
to
Johnson Arrigu.
he's in the transfer portal again. So
He doesn't want to play in the cold. He just wants to winter in Iowa. He could have just stayed here and entered the portal for me.
tough. So yeah, so now the women have 11 players on the roster. 3 returners from last year, 3 portal players, and 5 freshmen.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Still think we need to add.
I expect there to still be some additions, but I don't think. I think we've been patient, and I think we'll continue to do that. And I don't.
I think we need. I think. Hey, look
Whoa! Look at our guy from Brazil.
From Brazil. Matthew Bridges. Hi, Matt.
I think if there's no one she feels like worth taking, I think we'll just roll with what we have. We'll figure it out.
I still think we need another front court player. I think we need.
I think needs a strong word. I think we'd like one.
I would like us to add another front court player.
Yeah, within reason. I don't want someone that. I think it has to fit what we're doing. Otherwise, it's not worth it. I'd rather.
I think it's important because right now you have Kone and you have Abis.
Understood. And understood. You, especially in the ACC, you don't want to play small, and I understand all that. But
no, you're not going to add someone just to add someone. But I think if we're going after more people, I think a front court player should be on.
I'm not even so just to be clear. I know she's not going to just add someone just to add them. I'm saying more along the lines of if it breaks what we're trying to do here, I wouldn't do it. I don't know what she would do, but there's been a clear strategy with who she's brought in. So I would not get a big that, you know, fits one of the other categories I talked about. That's like someone that hasn't played or someone that's got 1 year left. I'd rather just roll with this. Even if it makes us maybe a little bit worse next year, I think it'll make us better 2 and 3 years from now, which is where I'm more looking.
I think we need another front court player.
I think we'll be fine.
Me and you disagree. I agree with what you're saying in the spectrum of everything, but I think we need another front court player.
I think roll the ball out there. It's 5-on-5. Let's go kick someone's ass early. Give me the weapons and we'll go shoot them.
We'll see.
Just whatever's in the toolbox, you use your tools. So I
want to know why Matt doesn't have a thumbnail anymore.
I don't know. Maybe because someone roasted him repeatedly for it. I'm just gonna.
You?
Thumbnail, was it me? It was both of us. I feel like it is immortalized in the intro though.
Real quick before we move on to the men, look at this really awesome Tyler Hero jersey that Vish got me.
Wait, hold on. Oh man, you screwed it up. I didn't do the intro yet, but that was a perfect chance to do. It's time to take a timeout.
Merch break.
A 30-second.
Shout out to Vish for the Tyler Hero jersey. My youth medium.
Youth medium, ridiculous. It was Melissa's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday again.
And it wouldn't be complete unless he also got me a hoodie. And I'm gonna say I should have preferenced it before. I pretty much own all of the things that fit me from the team store, which is why he didn't buy me Miami Hurricanes merch. Or he tried to, but I already had it, so it got returned.
Yeah, there was some.
Those are in the other room. But and then of course a hoodie. Miami Heat hoodie. Had to show off the gear.
Yep. That ends the 30-second timeout.
Oh, Matt wanted to join, but it's loud where he is.
I think he was just gonna short for like 10 seconds just to fuck around, like hop in backstage and surprise us.
Look what I added to the merch shelf.
Oh, the U100 mug, nice.
Yeah. It took the place of the basketball.
The basketball. That basketball's a relic. You gotta be careful with that. You gotta like entomb it somewhere. It'll be worth something one day. Just
I still have it.
I know, but you gotta like take care of it. a Kyrie Huey, Jaleel Bethea, Jalen Blackman signed basketball. It's one hell of an heirloom, man. That is amazing. That is amazing. Like, I mean, in terms of worthless like signatures, that is definitely up there.
Yeah. All right. So since we've last been on the air, we have cleaned house. AJ
Thank God.
Sandra and Divine Ugochukwu have entered the transfer portal.
So I've been consistent that I don't think anyone should. I know Jaleel, he announced today that he's going to Alabama. It was like the worst kept secret ever. Nigel Pack also officially.
Yeah, and Nigel Pack
and trying to get a 7th year.
Is in his top 4.
What? Yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't even know how these players have eligibility left, but that's fine. He can get out too, because everyone that was. I'm being consistent on this. I don't think anyone should have come back. I know, Jai Lucas did try to keep Jaleel, or at least was like interested to bring him out. Whatever. But yeah, I think everyone needs to go. Anyone associated with what we saw last year should not be associated with this program anymore. And in particular, I like what he's doing because, like, obviously Nigel and Jaleel to a lesser extent. Certainly Nigel has proven he belongs on this level, but you can't if you're gonna reset. You cannot bring people back that were participating in this. So that I think that's where I know he did. I guess theoretically try to get Jaleel to come back. I wouldn't have, to be honest, because I get why he's doing it, because you look at the talent, you're like, hey, we got to retain the talent. But I mean, from game 1 when he punched that dude in the nuts and got thrown out, like, it's just not worked. And that wasn't a joke. That's really what happened. For those that don't remember all the way back to the first game, he punched a guy in the nuts and got thrown out of it. So that is what happened. And I think, when you see those types of immaturities, is this the right environment to try and nurture that in? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So he's now going to a team that, is in the Elite 8 that has structure in place, which is, I think, something he needs. We're unstructured mess right now, and that's okay. Like, I'm okay with it. People might interpret that as negative. I'm actually being positive. Like, I'm going to give Jay Lucas time to build. I think part of that is cleaning house, which he did. And I think there's different reasons. First of all, I would have let everyone go for the reasons I stated, but I think for him, the reason he was kind of still a little bit interested in Jaleel is, I mean, the raw talent is it's the raw talent, right? This is a talent evaluation guy. He's look at that talent. But I am pleased that he's decided to move on. I don't know about you, Melissa. Would you have taken him back? Or?
I mean, I wasn't mad either way. I think it's good that we're doing a complete rebuild. The 3 players we've picked up are all going to be seniors, so we're kind of going the 1-year mercenary route. But again, when he's got to build the whole roster, so he doesn't have the luxury of a freshman class coming in either. So.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see, Duke season obviously ended yesterday. Any of their players enter the portal because they have, plenty of time to do that. I think it was 60 days after their last game. So we'll see, because, he's got to fill a whole roster in. There was no, very different from the women we were just talking about. They have a top 10 recruiting class coming with 5 players. There's 0. So he's building the whole roster. I guess the last 2, hey Terrence, the last 2 to enter the portal were Divine and AJ. And again, that is the talent evaluation. I will say AJ, could have potentially been end of bench, break glass. Like, if everyone gets into foul trouble, he can go out there and give you some minutes. He should not be playing major minutes on a P4 program. So you got to kind of make that calculus. Right now, when we don't have any players, he's probably looking a lot more appealing than he will hopefully 6 months from now, when you filled in the roster and like, okay, this is not someone that should even be playing. And I'm sure, Jay Lucas had that conversation with him about, hey, if you stick around, because he was the last one to go. It was kind of delayed. Probably like, we're looking to bring in people in front of you. So if you're going to stay here, don't expect to play a lot. And I think that's probably why he just, okay, and then I'm going to leave. Because, again, we're trying to there's only 3 players now. So right now you're penciled in as a starter. But once once we
We're
go and
gonna
get more,
assume there's gonna be more.
yeah, but once we go, but I mean, again, it's what are the plans? You know, you have to be honest with these kids. What are your plans with them? I think for AJ, it's probably like you can stick around if you want, but you're going to be towards the end of the bench. You're not going to play a lot. And I think for Divine, it was you got to get out of here. You're not good enough to play in this program. I don't know if he said that in that mean of a manner, but I mean, I watched that kid play a lot this year, and he's not of the caliber of player to play in the ACC, period. And so that was a healthy leave just from a basketball standpoint. And again, I'm really liking the way that Jay Lucas is evaluating the talent and just making the hard decisions. And that's what those are.
Happy because you wanted everybody to leave.
No, I mean that's why I preface this whole conversation. Like, regardless of that was my preference because I just think we need to flush this, and that includes the assistant coaches, which as of now he hasn't brought any back yet. I think everyone's got to go. Again, very different than when Trisha came in last year. Was like, we want to retain these successful people we've had within the program. Flip that around to where the men are right now. You want to leave because you want to start over, right? With that said, even taking that out of the frame, because I actually don't think Jay Lucas shared my opinion on that because he still tried to keep Jaleel. So I think he was doing more of a talent evaluation. I am pleased that he looked at what I saw on the court last year, which apparently our fans didn't see, and agreed with my evaluation of the talent that was on the roster. And he did see he did look at someone who was near the bottom of the ACC in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage and free throw percentage and turnovers as a point guard and said, you know what, you shouldn't be playing here. And those aren't easy conversations to have, but that's what you have to do. If you're going to build a program, you got to have those tough decisions because I think everyone around the program and ourselves, agree that Divine played hard. That's not good enough to warrant playing for the University of Miami. And so while that stood out with last year's team, that doesn't necessarily mean it should stand out going forward. And so I am glad that he kind of looked at that and it was like, you know what? No, we got to move on from this. This is not good enough for us. And so I know I've been swimming, let's just say outspoken about my evaluation of that particular player, which seems contradictory to everyone else's evaluation, not associated with the show, I should say, because I think Matt and Melissa more agree with me, just aren't as enraged by it as I am because they didn't sit there and watch that play all year. But I was pleased that Jay Lucas kind of looked at the talent here and said, we can figure out something better than this. So you got to go. Those are healthy exits, all of those from this program, in my opinion.
I agree.
And again, I'll be patient here. This is actually me being positive, not negative. Give him the time and space to grow the program the way he wants to. And that involves exiting the people that we're going to get in the way of that.
So let's talk about the 3 guys he's added so far.
Yeah, which are one of them in particular.
So the first one we added was Malik Renaud,
like the car.
I'm doing great with the pronunciations.
They really did come for you though. Like these are not fair. Like these are tough ones.
So he is from Miami.
Hi, Aaliyah.
Let's go. But he played at Indiana last year. He's gonna be a senior this year. Last year he played in 26 games, averaged 23 minutes, 13.3 points, 5.5 rebounds, about half a block per game, shot 55% from the field. I guess he attempted a few 3-pointers because he shot 12.5% for 3. He's like a 4. He's more of an on the block guy. I don't think you're gonna see him taking mid-range and 3-point shots. So yeah, big dude, 6'9", 232. I was very happy. This was our first edition, and he's stronger. He's probably like the strongest and biggest we've had in a couple years. Because I mean, I know Lynn Kidd was 6'11", but he was like this. So.
Yeah, no, and also, I mean, there was other things going on with Lynn Kidd too.
I'm trying not to, badmouth or insult outgoing players.
Look, I'm not insulting him. I think I think when you talk about how are you that bad, right? As bad as we were, and you start talking about that, and again, this will lead into the discussion we're having about how we're trying to address that. It is a lot of things that go into it, and part of it is the attitude of I'm not here to class and to study. I'm here to get to the NBA. Now, that can go both ways, right? Because if you're a very good team and the player is your best player and him getting his also makes the team better, that can be positive. However, when the season starts unwinding and you have people with that attitude, they're going to play for themselves. And you have 5 guys playing for themselves and we're not trying, not doing the little things that don't show up on the stat sheet because why the hell do I care? That's not going to get me drafted. That's when you see that's a symptom of you see the result of that, right? So yeah, getting someone like Renaud is a huge step. I think it's a step up in talent. Other
He's
than
like when you're running the offense through, he's like a glue piece.
Yeah, but I think other than Matthew Cleveland, he was better than everyone we had last year. Talent wise, and again, he's a good. Allegedly, we'll see. Because obviously last year this time we were pretty excited with the players we got. Turns out, nope. But he's supposed to be a good locker room kid. I mean, he's available because his coach retired, so it's not like a you got to get out of here situation. So I like it, and again, I like that we're similar to Kone on the women's side, targeting some local kids. Look, let's be realistic about Miami local basketball and basketball in South Florida in general is not. The third sport behind football and baseball, so we're not a basketball hotbed. Yep. But the talent that is here, although Columbus just won back-to-back titles because of the Boozer twins, who are still going to do before everyone starts talking. But that's like a once in a while thing, like how Miami High randomly was like really good for a few years. But we're not a basketball hotbed, so you're gonna have to go outside of South Florida. It's not like football and baseball; you can build the majority of your team locally. You're not gonna be able to do that. But that doesn't mean there aren't individual pockets of talent that you have got to keep home. And so he's actually the guys he's pulled in, we're going to talk about the rest of them too, do have high school in Florida, things like that'll hopefully start to establish those connections so that the next time talent like the Boozer twins comes through, which again is not regular in Miami because it's not a basketball hotbed, we're well positioned with the relationships and to capitalize on that. So I like that as well. These local, and that we're kind of investing a little bit in building some local pipelines. That's not something Coach L did at all. Not that he really had to, because again, he was very good. His connect. I mean, you can kind of see where these. You actually see this across both of our coaches, right? Last year, for better or worse, Tricia had all those connections in the Midwest, and it was easier for her to go get like Cam from Michigan and Nat from ND because she knows like all the. Sure, she knew them through high school. She knows all that, and she's kind of has those connections. Coach L was very connected in the northeastern United States. That's where we got a lot of our players out of like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and that part of the country. That's where he was very well connected. Jay Lucas is trying to build his identity, so establishing himself locally is obviously with some of his high school hiring as well as coach hiring. He's also trying to do that and get people more locally tied to kind of build down here, which again is not enough to actually be good at basketball, just to be blunt. Yeah. Like Florida's not the Final Four because all their kids are from Florida. Like that's not how it works in hoops. But it's good to have that in your pocket so that when you do get those elite players coming up through, you didn't just show up at the 11th time, but hey, we're the local school, by the way. You've been around. And so I like that he's doing that.
All right. So how do you feel about the Renaud? You just talked about him being local, so that's good. But what about his talent?
No, I mean, he's obviously well. I mean, look, man, as someone from Broward County, I can understand why you're less impressed that people are from the Superior Dade.
No, I'm saying no. It's great that he's. We should talk about like what he does on the court. I love the 10-minute monologue about getting local kids. That's totally a Jazz thing. But
please, man, Jazz. That was like scratching the surface of a Jazz monologue.
But no, this is a dude.
No, I mean he's gonna start. He's a high quality player.
It's a high quality transfer. You start him at the 4. He's a big body guy who's good on the block. He's a good defender. Has a lot
Yeah,
of
I don't. Again, this is similar to what I said with Trisha, but probably a little bit even more so here. I still don't know what we're like system wise and all that, what we're doing. And I'll reiterate what I said on Flow Show, which is I'm much less concerned with, you know, the win-loss record next year and more concerned with, like, does he establish identities of how we want to play offensively and defensively? And, you know, given that he was a defensive coach at Duke and he appears, again, we'll see what actually comes through, because everyone says something in the press conference and then what actually happens can sometimes be very different. But, you know, he is going to stress defense and rebounding and toughness, and this is a perfect player to fit that style, which again, very different from where we were very successful. Not that we didn't play defense, but like, not that, you know, like, but those Final Four and Elite Eight teams were very much about pushing the pace up and down, fluidity, and I think this might be a little bit of a return to where we were 25 years ago with Leonard Hamilton, which is like, we're gonna physically beat the crap out of you and try to get to 60 points and keep you in the 50s.
Which is a great segue into one of our second commit in Ernest Ude.
Yeah.
Ude?
Those names, man, they're coming for you.
This is a large gentleman who's from Orlando originally.
Yep, there it is.
So another Florida guy.
Dr.
Little less local. 6'11", 260, started at Kansas, and then has been at TCU the last year. Averaged 7.5 rebounds per game last year and 6.5 points. He's your paint protector. This isn't a guy you're gonna draw up plays for and be like, all right, take the ball to the hoop. He's gonna get his points off of offensive rebounds, maybe a little pick and roll or something. This is a guy you get because you want to play defense, you want to protect the paint. He's gonna body people. People gave me a lot of shit because I was saying that he needs to develop an offensive game if he wants to like take it to the next level. I was just trying to say, like, he's not an offensive guy. This guy's a rim protector. He doesn't have like, he's not this all-world center that's, you know, going to get you a double-double every game and all of that. But like, apparently people took that as me saying, oh, he's not good. That wasn't what I was saying.
Well, I mean, I don't. So one of the issues I've had, and this actually extends to the narrative around the Jay Lucas hire, and I know because Melissa went on Dono's show, which is a lot more heavily watched than ours for now. You know, eventually we're gonna overtake you, Dono. We're coming for you. But
Dono has 20,000 subscribers.
I know,
yeah.
that's always actually our channel has more subscribers.
We've got 680 Twitter followers, so we've got a ways to go.
I mean, the 5 Reasons Sports has more subscribers, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know that they're watching.
No, they're here for the Heat content, but still, they do watch the Heat content. But more seriously, like, I know you've taken a lot of the barbs where I think Matt and I and you all three of us agree, which is we're not being negative by being realistic. And I would love for Uday to come in here and average 20 and 10 next year. He has shown no ability to do that. So expecting him to do that is not realistic. And saying that, hey, that's not his game, we're not going to like clear out and run the ball through the post through him like he's Shaquille O'Neal, is not being negative. It's being realistic. Like, we're not going to sit here and like make stuff up to be positive and make everyone else feel good. And it wasn't even being negative, just to say, hey, look, right now he's shown that he's not, you know, he's not really an offensive threat. He'll get you some putbacks and some, you know, he'll some scramble baskets and you know, slip a screen and make a dunk and all that. But we're not gonna, all right, let's feed it into the post, see if he can draw a double team, because that's just not his game, and that's okay.
I love the comeback that someone gave me. They're like, oh, he shot 63% from the field. I'm like, he averaged 6 points. I don't care what the percentage is. He probably only took 5 shots. Like, he's not an offensive guy. I called him a rotational guy. Will be great on defense, but this isn't a guy that is gonna get you, like you said, 20 and 10. He's a big body in the paint. He's gonna protect the rim, but he's not gonna be a scorer. And I said it would be nice if he developed a little bit.
I don't understand our fans, right? And I think, and I know, again, you've taken a lot of the barbs for this, but I will stand right next to you on this, and in front of you and yell in people's face in a restaurant if I have to. But
It's happened.
Inside joke. But no. But I mean, look, us being realistic is actually, I feel, being fair to these kids and to this coaching staff, because our fans, after watching, well, probably didn't watch a lot of it, but I did, the worst basketball you could possibly imagine, overnight have flipped into, so where's the Final Four next year? Because we're going, right? And I'm just like, calm down. And that's the same thing here. It's the same thing with Jay Lucas when we say things like, he's going to go through growing pains. Hopefully he gets through them successfully. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is the greatest hire in the history of the world. I'm like, he's never coached before. That is a concern. And that's a factual concern. So, like, relax. Same thing here. I would love for him to score double figures. He's never done it before. So, if he's going to show more, great. But I actually don't think, this goes back to the previous discussion we're having, that is the plan with him anyway. I think if you're talking about what teams we're trying to play like, I think if you look at Houston, that's what we're trying to do. Physically beat people up in low-scoring defensive games. It's going to be the opposite of what we were trying to do under Coach L. It's very different. So then, but when you do that, those 7-8 points a game we might get from Uday carry a lot more, because you're trying to get to 70, not have to get to 90 to win a game. And so it's a different sport. You're playing it differently, and and that makes the defense a lot more important, which is why he's here. And that's actually probably a lot of why Renault is here as well. He's really solid defensively, and I think we're trying to build defense first. That's where Jay Lucas's background is in. And frankly, we've run the offense first into the ground. It took it as far as we could, and that was a long way. But we saw over the last 2 years how little margin for error you have doing that. Because if you can't stop anyone, you have to score. And the difference between, having Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller or not is that ability to just consistently churn out the points that you need to play that way. So I don't put scoring expectations really on any of these kids, because I don't think Jay Lucas is. Play defense, get in the right position. When you hedge, do it properly. Stop giving up dunks and layups in every position and wide open threes like we did last year. And all of a sudden, you don't have to score as many points. And that is, I have to do is score one more point than the other team. And if that's 50 to 49 or 90 to 89, you still get a win. And I think he's going to build. And the one thing is, and you see this with Houston. I mean, I'm not suggesting we're going to be that good ever, really, to be honest. They're in the finals. We've never been. So, not saying that's the realistic goal or anything, but their player, like we beat them as a 1 seed 2 years ago. Those players aren't there anymore, but they're still a machine, because you get the system in place, you coach it right, you recruit players to fit that. That's how you keep it going over time. And so while everyone's obsessed with, we got this kid, we missed on that kid. Because the Pitt kid that like, Jay Lucas has ties to him. He went to, I think, Auburn, I forget where he went, but not here. Or was it Tennessee, whatever it was. And it's like, that's okay. That's okay. We're going to miss on kids. It's fine. He's got to get his systems installed and then recruit kids to fit it.
And it's not a miss on a kid if we reach out to someone and we're on a list of like 30 other schools.
Well, I mean, that's the latest. I forget the kid's name. The one that listed like 40 schools and some of them said Zoom in parentheses. Like, Miami reached out. I'm like, I don't know he listed half a D1 there.
Right. So the third guy we took was Trey Donaldson from Michigan. He had played 2 years at Auburn and then played last year at Michigan. Big part of their Big Ten winning team. Kind of like a true point guard.
Yeah, he's the point guard. This is another reason why. And I think what was that? Sorry.
He's over 6 feet.
Yeah, no, he's a bigger point guard, but I think. Honestly, I think this is just it's yeah. I mean, it's obvious why we went this route. You need someone to run the team, and he's that kid. He can score also, so he's not. It's not just he's not just a distributor of the ball, but just again, he's been solid through his career. He's played at, as you said, Auburn, now Michigan. He was one of their better players.
And he's from Florida.
Yep, he's from. Hopefully the fans don't hold hold it
He's
against him. He's from
he's from
Tallahassee.
he's from that town up north that might be the capital of Florida.
Yeah, well, it's the capital of Florida. It's not the capital of South Florida, but he yeah, no, he went to Florida State University High School. Hopefully, don't give him the Matthew Cleveland treatment for that. But to our fans out there who like to hate Matthew Cleveland because he came from Florida State. But the yeah, no, it's a veteran player. He's good defensively, which again I think is the primary focus for Jay Lucas right now. And what he will do over the next season is make all of y'all that were upset that Divine Ugochukwu entered the portal go see a mental health specialist to figure out what's wrong with your brain, because he's so much better that you're gonna be like, I can't believe we thought we could play the other kid.
He's extremely well rounded. He kind of can do a little bit of everything. It's a shame he only has 1 year of eligibility left. But he can score. He can shoot from three. Drive to the hoop. He plays defense.
2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
Well, last year he averaged 2 turnovers a game. Like that's
2 turnovers to 4 assists, so 2-to-1 ratio.
That's pretty good. Let's see here.
Well, I mean, he's
31 points a game, shot 43% from the field, 37.5 from three. Needs to work on his free throw percentage a little bit.
Well, also Michigan played like a bigger lineup, so he had to do a lot of the ball handling. So he's gonna run the point for us and probably play a majority of games and kind of just be a mainstay on the court and provide that leadership on the perimeter that was completely lacking this season. Yeah, no, I mean, again, I think when you see this kid play, you're going to want to have your heads examined if you argue that Divine Ugochukwu should still be here running the point. It's going to be that much of a difference. Like, this is an actual quality basketball player that we're going to put out there that'll be able to lead the team forward, which is what you need. And again, like you said, another Florida. So all 3 of our players on the roster right now are from Florida. That's all that we got. We got 3. 2 away from being able to actually play a game. So obviously a lot more to come. But I like these moves, and I like the focus on defense, and I like that I think he is, part of recruiting, and he's obviously was known as a recruiter coming in, is that talent evaluation. And I like what he's doing there so far. It does seem a lot more, I mean, I hate to put this on Coach L, but the results are what they are. It does seem a lot more structured and logical and patient than what we were doing the last few years, which was big, quick grab for anyone that would take our bag. And I think that was not a good approach. I like that look, we have 3 players on the team right now, and he asked 2 to leave last week. To me, that's exactly the type of perspective and patience we need. I'm not taking just anyone. Let's do this correctly. And now we'll see to make sure hopefully we have enough players to field the team next year. But I do like the approach, because last year and the year before was very much like grabbing for everyone and not necessarily, thinking, okay, how am I going to use this kid? How's he fit? How's he fit culturally? And I think we're going to be a lot more intentional about that. Because again, different perspectives entirely when, Coach L's in his 70s and thinking, I don't have many more years to coach here. And I've already just gone to the Final Four. I got put everything, it's like poker. I'm going all in, trying to win, which is get to the finals and understand that if the cards don't fall my way, I'm going to go bust and bust. And meanwhile, Jay Lucas has plenty of time to play to be here, so I think he's being a little bit more methodical in building.
Yep, we'll see.
Which I like, and which I'll be patient with, because I don't expect the team to be great next year. That's okay.
Be careful, Vish. People might think you're being negative.
Come at me. Come at me. If we're good, I'll be ecstatic. If we're bad, be the other person there other than me and Justice Sandal, who covers for SI, because we're the only 2 people at these games when it gets to February, and they're that bad. So
hey, I'm there when possible as well.
Yeah, the scheduling gods did not work out with your work schedule.
No,
but I'm serious. Like, all these people I'm like, none of you were at the games. I know, I was sitting there by myself. No, like, we could tell because the Duke game, only when people showed up to. It was Justice and I were sitting there like, wow, there's people here. Other than that, it was like empty. So then don't come at me. Well, why? I mean, I don't know. I sat through this and you didn't, so kiss my ass. Anyway, not you, the royal you.
It's not a bucket show unless someone brings up baseball.
Look, man, you're taking TCH's job. You know what? We got a win today. We got a run rule win. We are over 500. ACC Road Series win.
JD's trying to
I
say.
will be out at the light on Wednesday for Bethune-Cookman, which was the beginning of the end last year. That midweek meltdown. And then weekend series Duke. Melissa and I will be out for the game.
Spring game on Saturday.
And Tuesday. Happy 100th birthday to the University of Miami. It turns 100 on April 8th, 2025, which is Tuesday. Celebrations at campus. Head out there if you can. I'm sure it'll be nice and not
The team store. The team store's got these U100 hoodies with all of the previous logos.
The team store has a bunch of U100 stuff actually. So definitely head over to that in the Thesis Hotel. Check that out. Yeah, they got a lot of cool merch. They'll also be out there if you're going out to the U100 celebration. They will be. Yes, they are. Parrish, actually. Here, let me pull the. There's a bunch of stuff going on from 5 to 8:30. There's a festival. There's music. There's food. There's fireworks. I will throw the link. Actually, let me pull the link up real quick. And I will throw it into the chat. Here we go. Where is it? Ooh, here it is. All right. There's an RSVP here, although you don't need tickets for anything, so I don't know what that's for. But anyway, that is in the chat. I'll also throw in the show notes at some point. But anyway, that's we can get festivities. I'll be out there. I'm not sure exactly where I'll be, but yeah. If y'all see me, say hi. But the team store will be out at Stanford Circle. They'll have a bunch of merch and memorabilia out there, so definitely check them out. They're also out at our baseball games. So if you're out to the light, check them out there. And also
have an item of the game of the baseball game that's marked down.
I don't know what it is this week.
I don't know, but I've taken advantage of it a couple of times already.
Yeah, no, they do an item of the game where you get 30% off at the team store during the games of baseball.
I got a hoodie.
Yeah, 5 to 9 p.m. There's a kind of little carnival on campus to celebrate the centenary. So definitely head out there, check that out, say hi to the team store, buy some merch, and it should be a fun time. Then Bethune on Wednesday, Duke home over the weekend along with the spring game. Then FAU at home the following week with Georgia Tech at home. So a lot of sports on campus. There's still time for baseball, barely. There's still time.
And we'll have more buckets to talk about actual basketball.
There's going to be, look, man, there's 3 players on the men's roster. There's going to be a lot more coming in there.
A lot more coming. We may have a few more additions on the women's. Hopefully we can get some of the coaches back on. Trying to get Gal Raviv on. We'll see if I can make that happen. Or, if anyone's watching that knows her. I'm just kidding.
What do you mean you're kidding? If anyone is watching that knows her, please get her in touch with us.
Yep.
Don't even you're kidding. Use the power of the stream, man.
Anything else?
I don't think so. We got 6th ring and Canes on deck tomorrow. That's football, and baseball should be pretty busy because we got as you said, spring game this weekend for football, and baseball finally won an ACC series and got 2 big home ones coming up. Chance to kind of get this thing. Still barely enough time to save the season, and they're definitely.
If you're interested in recruiting, go back and watch the whole show because that's all we talked about was recruiting.
Yep, that was this whole show, and that's going to be the next few shows. Again, the men only have 3 players, so
the men got a lot more.
Well, I guess generally on recruiting, so right now they're targeting mostly the 26 class. The men are probably still being active and seeing what they can do. There's a few 25 players that are still available. That is how we got Divine last year. We got him later in the cycle. I don't think we'll take anyone like that because, again, I think he's being very intentional about his talent evaluation. But there are a few players that could potentially come in as freshmen still. But right now, the men don't have a freshman class at all.
Yep.
The women had a top 5 class last year, so those players are coming to campus. So or top 10, sorry, 5 players in a top 10 class.
Yeah.
Numbers are hard.
Numbers are difficult.
So yeah, definitely we've talked about that on previous shows, but maybe it's probably worth one of these off-season shows, Melissa, maybe doing a deeper dive into the women's recruiting class because we've talked about Camille Williams, like Meredith Tippner, and
I'm
you
trying
know, a
to
little
get
bit.
her on the show, but I think she's a
No,
little.
I'm just talking about it's dedicating like 20 minutes or
Yeah,
so and
talking
deep
about all the
diving.
players.
Yeah,
But no,
just go one by.
I am trying to get Camille Williams on the show. I sent her some links to some previous player interviews so she can get to know us a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but maybe we can get one of the coaches on and they can give us more of a deep dive into some of these
Yeah,
players.
I think for that we'll probably wait just a little bit to see, make sure everything settles and like they're not still trying to bring in.
Oh, this is the freshman class. Talk about the freshman class.
Oh yeah, that we can do.
Because like we can deep dive into 5 of them, but it's harder just to find college women basketball tape. It's even harder to find high school women's basketball.
Yeah,
tape.
no, it's hard to
So-
get tape, but we should definitely do a deep dive into this.
See, Parrish, I really don't have any connections. My connections are I'm just very vocal on social media. So I just DM people and hope they respond. There's no like, oh, I know this person that knows this person. That's Vish. Vish and Matt have that down. I have no connections at all. Unless you need a hoodie, and then I can direct you to aboutthefans.com to buy part of the Hoodie Girl collection for, you can get 10% off with HD10. But other than that, I don't really have any connections. Although Coach Meyer did follow me on Instagram, so there is that. That was a nice.
That's my connection. You can't have that one.
That was a nice birthday present. I'll take that. I woke up to a Coach Meyer follow request, and I'm like, okay then.
That's still my connection. You don't get to claim that connection.
I mean, it's more your connection. You actually have her phone number, but I do have a couple of the assistant coaches' phone numbers, but I would never.
No, actually, like the issue, and this is with me as well, right? Our connections are kind of tapped, so like we could obviously, like Melissa could definitely, like we have this kind of relationship through Melissa with the women's program at this point where, she can, if we want to get an assistant coach on, she can make it happen like that. It's not like, but we want to do it the right sequence of time too.
Yeah.
And also, the season just ended, like the finals was tonight. So, give them a little breathing space too. I think probably the last thing.
Well, I think a few of them were actually in Tampa for the Final Four.
No, I mean that is a Final Four / coaches convention where they all like show up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna give them a little bit of time, relax a little bit, and then we'll certainly have them on again. We generally do that in the fall just to let them breathe a little bit, but
I may contact them just to help me out with getting some certain players.
We can work that through. Yeah, no, I mean Blue's got all the connections.
In football, though.
Blue doesn't like to use his connections.
Yeah. Matt doesn't have hot takes. Matt just knows ball.
Missing Matt hot takes. What are the hot takes?
For whatever reason, we speak the truth and people get angry.
I think again, I don't blame people for this. I don't think a lot of people watched a lot of our basketball this year. The thing got away from us, and I think people justifiably, like, I'm not watching this anymore. This is done. The coach quit, and saw to see how bad it was repeatedly, which I did. I think it changes your perspective. And obviously, we all cover the team. We watch way more of it than we should. I think, it changes your perspective when you see how bad it was and understand, okay, it's going to be a long way back. It's going to take some time. I think everyone just wants to be good again. And it's not realistic. Not overnight.
Yep. Alrighty. Wow. We got an hour and 20 minutes of show.
Well, I mean, we had all of the teams, like, players leave.
This show would be like 2 times longer if Matt was here because we'd still have to do NBA grid and like a Mount Rushmore.
A last minute show, I don't know that we would have done either of those segments, but anyway.
And we also have to find something to taste test this offseason. Last year it was apple juice. We got to do something else this year.
You didn't even participate in the apple juice, so we got to make sure you participate.
Yeah, we got to do something. But when we get Gal Reviva on the show, I wonder if she's had both Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. You think they have those in Iowa? Or no, not Iowa, in Connecticut?
I'm sure. Yes.
I could ask her falafel or shawarma. That's probably the better.
I was gonna ask her about whether the egg matzo is the appropriate one or if she should get a different one, but anyway.
Oh, Passover soon. She may be busy.
I think you should ask her appropriate, like, what's her favorite matzah. Because you were very opinionated on the subject, yelling
No,
at
I
me
was
like,
no,
that says egg.
falafel.
It needs to be the egg, but it says
No, it
egg.
has to be the egg. It has to be. The
It said
regular-
egg on the box.
No, it does. No, but falafel or shawarma is can be quite the debate, though. I mean, I'm a falafel person, but she might.
We're
she
asking
might
the chicken
prefer
sandwich
shawarma.
question.
Huh? I mean, we gotta ask Chick-fil-A Popeyes question, but if she hasn't had one of them, then it's not. It may not be legitimate.
I feel like when did she move? She didn't come straight from Israel, did she?
I'm not sure. I have to look to see where she played high school.
I thought she played high school here. Let me see. Attended Bella Vista College Prep in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been the Cavenders are Arizona as well. We've been we've been going to that state to get people.
We failed to get any players that the coaches told us to get on the show this year, by the way. Not my fault. Me and Darion answered one of my DMs and then never answered a single one after that. So I tried. It wasn't meant to be. So anyway, I think we should call it a night.
Do you think?
Shout out to our guy Matt. He's
Yep.
at the wedding on vacation.
In Brazil.
In Brazil. So and then shout out to Terrence and Parrish for being in the chat.
Yeah.
Even the
And,
last minute buckets, we still draw a couple of people, a few usuals. So
all right, so just again, tomorrow we got 6 ring. We'll preview the spring game. Canes on deck. We'll talk about the Pitt series and upcoming big home series against Duke. Tuesday, the Formula One show, which I know is what everyone's here for. I think it'll be like at 10. It's gonna be later because I'm gonna be on campus for the Centennial celebrations. By the way, again, if you're out there, let me know. Maybe we can meet up. And then Wednesday, Bethune-Cookman at home. I'll be out there, and we'll both be out there next Saturday for the spring game. So
spring game.
So definitely stop by, say hi. Oh, thank you, Nokro. Good and always good to have new commenters. Thanks everyone for watching. Definitely 2 last plugs before we sign off before Melissa can cue this. Number 1, definitely Team Store. Head out. Thesis Hotel open daily. Baseball games. There's a 30% off, and they'll be out there at the Centennial celebration. And even more importantly, aboutthefans.com. Search for the Hoodie Guard collection. 10% off with the code HG10.
Cue the sock outro. Don't cry. Keep it chill. Wear good socks.
Buckets.